Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I do hope that you have been enjoying the tutorials and that you've been having a lot of fun, because that's what it's all about. And I hope you've been practicing, because practice is what we need to be doing all the time. So today I thought we'd try a little bit of fun. I'm going to try some graphite powder on this drawing paper. This is, it looks like Canson 1557. That I'm going to be putting graphite powder onto, and I'm basically just going to be spreading it all over the piece of paper. I want to replicate this underwater scene. You can see that I've pulled out some pencils, so we're just going to have a fun-filled multimedia time, depending on obviously whether it is that I want to use that or not. So I have a blue Derwent. I love this color, iris blue, and this color is also water soluble. So we might just, oh, okay, that was, I think, some saliva. So it goes spat on my page, so apologies, but that's fine. We'll work that in. We don't mind mistakes, remember? We use our mistakes to our advantage. So that is extremely light, and I perhaps just need it to be a little bit more intense down the bottom here. So we're just going to put that shape in. We just want that shape in just to show where she is going to be. Blow it off. And we're going to be putting this away. This is Cretacolor graphite powder. You can make your own. Literally, you can take a stick, graphite stick, and sand it into a little bucky, and then use your cotton wool to pick it up and put it onto your paper. You don't need to buy every single thing that you see out there. They are nice to have, I will admit, that is true, but it's also good just to use what you have. So I'm just going to start here. I'm going to pull out her forehead. This is a piece of kneaded eraser, and I'm just going to pull out that light on her forehead and just try and get that shape of her face. And yes, we are going straight in. We're just going to use shapes for this. We're not going to be too technical at the moment. We have a lot of bubbles that are rising above. She's obviously blowing the air out of her nostrils, so we're just going to put that in just to show where they go. We have beautiful watermarks at the top here. Sorry, my pages, I actually need to try to somehow get that flat. Let me just find, I'm not a fan of these because now the page is going to be raised at the top there, but that's fine. That's what I have found. Obviously didn't plan this very well before I started, but nonetheless we shall carry on. So her hair is literally streaked in water, because obviously it looks like she has dived in, and all that we want to do is we just want to get an impression. That's all that we are after, is an impression of her being underwater. It's nothing major. We just want to get that impression. And see, I need to take her hair, but we'll do that with a pencil. This needs to come much further up on her forehead. We've got her eye, and we've got this section of her face. You do need to roll your kneaded eraser and knead it out, because it picks up quite a lot of the graphite, and then it doesn't want to pick up any more. And in order to take out these light areas, we need that graphite to be quite clean to be able to pick up the graphite that we are carving out here, you can say. This is, so the light is coming in from the left hand side. We can see that quite clearly. She's got a lot of light on her face on that side, and I quite like these streaks that I'm getting from the kneaded eraser, because when you're underwater it really isn't perfect, is it? And you do have these streaks as the light hits the water, and look at that, we're getting a beautiful streak down the bottom here. That's fantastic. I just want to take this in, smooth that out. So this is where this comes in, and I just hope that, hang on, I'm going to use a piece of cotton wool. I just want to smooth this out. There we go. That's beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful. So we are managing to get a really beautiful effect using this kneaded eraser in this way of this underwater. Whoops, a bit too much, the kneaded eraser, but that still looks gorgeous. We'll just smooth that out with the cotton wool, and you see I'm getting a really nice smoothing effect by using this cotton wool instead of going in with the eraser. Right, so we have water bubbles. We have that look of water bubbles, and now we're going to start putting in the details. So I do have a 2B here. You know how I always love to start off with a 2B, and I'm just going to lay out, just going to put in her eyebrow, because then I'll be going in with the 7B black. I'm just putting that in, and then I just want to get her eye in here. So her eye, she's looking down. So I get that shape, get that whole look. We have this shadow on this side of the bubble going up to her eyebrow. So we just want to get that in. Just want to get this shadow in here of her eye. Top part and the bottom here. So that's the eyelid. That is her eyebrow. And this side, so let's just go down to her nose. If we look at her nose, it's out of line of the normal sort of things that we pick up when we are drawing a portrait. Or what are the points of detail? And here you can see that that is her mouth. So her nose, because she's looking down at us, her nose is very, very high up on her face. So I'm going to put that in. It is obscured because of the bubbles, but we'll get that, we'll sort that out. So that's one nostril, that's the other nostril. Sorry, I'm trying to do this in a way so that you can still see what I'm doing. And then we have her mouth, which obviously because she's looking down is this sort of shape. So we'll get that in. And I think I have it too close to her nose, but that's fine, we can fix that in a minute. And then her bottom lip, just the bottom part, is in shadow because of her looking down. And then we have her chin, and her chin is in shadow. I will put that in. Her other eye doesn't really look like it's in line. I'm going to put it in here. It's just a shadow. That's all that we can see. We can't see any other detail. I'm just going to put it in here. And it's not in a bubble, so we need to make sure that that reads to the viewer. Okay, so we have the shape of her face in. Her ear, if you look at her ear, is in line with her mouth, but down here, because she is looking at us. She's looking down, so her ear is that odd shape, but that's purely because of the perspective. of the photograph, and then her hair does this, wraps around the ear, wraps around this part of the face, and we have it going off the top here, because obviously underwater she's jumped in, and the photographer's managed to take the photograph at this angle. Her hair coming down. We just want to get this impression in. We're not doing, let me just have a look and see here. So this lines up with her chin, and this whole area is obviously dark. We're just going to fill that in. We don't have to have it perfect. We just want to know that that is there. Right. So if I go back in here with this pencil, I'm trying so hard not to put my elbow on it. I don't want to be smudging it. I just want to get this darkened. So all we're going to do is we're just going to do the impression that we see here. That is dark, and we want to take it dark around her forehead, and we want to take it dark underneath her ear here, but I'm not going to do too much detail because, as I say, I just want the impression. I don't want a super duper detailed drawing here. So if I look at her eye, we have a dark bit here. It is darker. We're just going to do that. And I'm going to take out some light here because I haven't taken out enough. So there we go. And on top of her eyelid, there is a lovely light patch. And here. So I'm just going to take all of this out. There we go. And across the top of her lip. So I have taken out a bit of her lip, but it's because I want to lower it. I'm not too happy about where it is. She has a shadow here for her nose, which we need. We want that bubble to stand out. And that's the other nostril, putting that in. And then I'm just going to lower this mouth ever so slightly. There we go, that's better. And then we have this beautiful shape of this bottom lip in the shadow. And then we have the chin, which is in the shadow. And it's amazing. These shadows just give us a clue as to what this face is all about. It's quite, I just absolutely love the fact that the viewer, your brain, fills in everything that is not on here. I just find that quite incredible. I'm fascinated by how our brains work. So get that there and just get this darker. Right, so we've done that. And now I want to get this dark in here, because if we want those bubbles to stand out, we need to get this shape in. And you can see that I am not really paying much attention to detail here. All that I want is the idea that this hair is floating. So we can go in and we can take out some more with the kneaded eraser. Excuse me, should we wish to. I just want to get this more over this way, because that is definitely a beautiful line. And as we start filling in or putting in the shadows of these bubbles, And you can see that there are bubbles in her hair as well. It's very, very beautiful. There's a lot of detail in this photograph. That we can use to our advantage. You can't really see any of the detail here, but I'm going to just bring in that dark. This underneath her chin here comes around. So as I said, we don't want too much detail. So I don't want to be putting in too much detail. We want the viewer to pick that up. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cotton wool and I'm going to blend this out. I'm using my cotton wool because I want a softer blend, although I don't have much control over the area that I'm blending it on, unless I sort of try and manipulate it, but it's not that easy. But I just want a softer blend. You can see that it's moving the graphite around, which is great. Okay, that looks beautiful, I think. And then we're going to take out these very, very light bubbles that you can see on her hair here. And the kneaded eraser might just be taking out a bit too much, but that's fine. We can sort that out and put that in. You can see that there's definitely picking up a few sort of lighter areas, especially around this area of her hair. Not so much this bottom area where it is very, very dark. But you can see a whole lot of bubbles all the way through this photograph here. It is absolutely beautiful. Right, so now we're going to work on these bubbles, and these are not going to be that easy, I don't think, but we're going to try and just give an impression of her blowing bubbles out of her nose. So we're going to have to put in a bit more shading. I'm going to use my 2H because I feel that my 2H just gives me that nice light shadow that we need in these bubbles. So we just need some shadow underneath here. Shadow, and these shadows are literally from underneath the bubbles. So we just need those shadows in just to give it depth, and also just to pull out those shapes. There's lots and lots of bubbles up the top here, and literally all I'm going to do is I'm going to put in shadows and just try to change a couple of the shapes just so that it looks like bubbles. And we shall blend them in, and hopefully that's what we get. I'm just going to put in some shadows here. I'm literally scribbling. I'm literally moving the pencil around and scribbling just to try and get that look. So across here we have quite a big, almost like a rainbow shape, which I'm going to put in, and then we have a shadow there on that side, and we might have to use the kneaded eraser to pull out some more here, because I can see I'm missing bubbles on this side. I'm just going to put in those shadow shapes. I'm can literally pull that out. We've got little tiny bubbles, so we're going to change our kneaded eraser to a round little tiny dot on the top, because you can do two, and tiny ones which are fantastic. Let me just get this in here, just get that in there just to give that impression of bubbles. Where is my blending stump? So I'm using the blending stump here because I want more control over where the graphite is going. And you can see that the blending stump is giving me nice shape. If I look at that bubble, the grey or the shadow wraps itself around to the bottom, if you can call it that. And we have a shadow here, we have a shadow here, shadow there, and that bubble coming out of her nose is right on top of her nose. So I just want to get that, I want to take that out. That will obscure that nostril, which is what we want. And it goes up and across her eye, so I just want to get that in. There's quite a lot of light here where that bubble, obviously the reflection of it, and then we have quite a lot of light on the top of it, and we just want to get that light out of there and out of there. And I'm just hoping that we can get that effect of bubbles, because I think this is so cool, this photograph. This is from Unsplash, and it's so cool to actually challenge yourself with different photographs and drawings and just look at the shapes and try our best to get it to look like bubbles being blown out of her nose. Just deepening her forehead here, purely because I want that bubble to look like a bubble, and I don't know that I'm winning. Not sure that I am winning, but we are going to try. So if I look at this side of her nose, that is a shadow bubble, and we have a, I'm just going to use my Tombow here because we have a very, very fine streak that comes up. There we go, that's better. We have this very, very white light here, and we have this very, very light. I'm going to see if I can carve these out with my Tombow. This is not dark enough, so I'm just going to shade that in. So all I've done is I've just pulled graphite from the actual forehead, and I'm going to see if I can carve it out a whole lot better with my Tombow, which is probably a better option. Just want to see if I can get this chaos that is being shown with this So if your Tombow isn't pulling out, you know, what you are trying to pull out, clean it on some clean paper, because often what happens is that the graphite sits on it and it can't pull out anymore because there's too much graphite sitting on the actual eraser itself. So you need to clean it in order for it to be able to pick up. See, it's not picking up, so you need to clean it. That's what I was busy saying. Sorry, I'm concentrating on my drawing and trying to talk all at the same time. So you almost need to clean it so that you can pick up small amounts of graphite, because otherwise it just doesn't do it. And I'm hoping that this is looking like a bubble. I really am. Not sure what you guys are thinking as I'm drawing this or doing this. Now I'm using my blending stump to put in some of these shadows, because there is graphite on it. If there isn't, all you do is you just go into an area where there is graphite, pick up graphite on your graphite stump and fill it in. This is a very, very definite line here around this. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go in along the edge here, just because I see that that is a definite line, and then I want to go in here just to get that shadow in of the hair that's going around, or should I say that bubble is showing the hair behind. I just want to see if by using this, putting in shadows where I see darker, deeper shadows, that I actually start getting a bubble effect. Sometimes you have to step away from what you're doing because you can't see it for the life of you, because you're so close to the drawing that you're in it, and you can't actually see that's saying the trees for the forest for the trees. So sometimes you actually need to step away and have a look at what you have done, because sometimes you can do a bit too much and you've already done it. You've already managed to take that viewer on a journey into your painting or your drawing. And you end up doing far too much. And then it is ruined and too detailed, and that's what I'm trying to avoid here. Trying to avoid that too much detail. Okay, so what I was going to do with this blue was see if it will work around her. I love this color. And all I want to do is just give an impression of water. I'm going to take it across her face as well. I'm going to see what it looks like doing some of it and not all of it. Just to give that impression of water. Take it over here. see if just want to lead the viewer in and out of the actual drawing without a whole lot of information. So that is it, I think. I'm hoping that those bubbles are enough. I don't want to start putting blue in, because once I start doing that, I'm going to have to do probably the whole thing. Probably not. Probably don't have to. But I just know how my brain works. And I need to kind of stop, because otherwise I'm definitely going to be putting in detail that the portrait doesn't need. Because basically what I've done here gives the viewer enough information to know that she's dived into water. I'm hoping that that is what I have managed to get across here. I really do. And I hope that you're enjoying this, and I'm pretty sure that you guys are doing a better job than what I am. Just putting in some shadows here, just so that these bubbles stand out. It's amazing, I must say. I love graphite for everything that it gives you. It's just the most incredible medium. It can be used in so many ways. It's just crazy. I just want to break this up a little bit. You see, now I'm starting to fiddle. It's exactly what I do, instead of just leaving it as it is. But I hope that I have managed to give a feeling of water and bubbles. I really do. I'm going to take out some areas here, just so that we get an impression of water and being underneath it. I think it might help I hope that it does, because I just want okay, so now have I ruined it? I hope not. Oh, I hope not. I'm just putting in a few details, taking out, because I see that there it is very, very light. I like that. And on her ear here, it's light. So I'm just going to put that in. I did say I was finished. I know I did say I was finished. And here I am fiddling. And I've got it all over my arm, so I've just got to be careful that I don't end up taking it into areas that I don't want it to go into. Right. I hope that that looks like a bubble. Here we go. Still fiddling. Can you believe it? But I'm just seeing a couple of areas here that I just want to add in. Right. I'm not doing any more. Moving away. And that is the tutorial for today. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and that you have had fun. I've definitely had fun. I love experimenting. It's something that I do all the time, and I would suggest that you do too. There are lots and lots of artists out there that are willing to share all kinds of things with you and just love the process that we've just gone through, and you can learn so much from so many people. You just never ever stop learning. So there we go, everybody. That's the end of the tutorial. I do hope that you have enjoyed it. And we don't really see that anymore. Did you notice that? So it's fine. Embrace your mistakes. It's good to do so. Have an awesome week, everyone. Bye.